Good morning and welcome to BJC Halacha A, number 1669. Halacha A keeps the Yetzer Hara away, and we're learning the fascinating chapter, Laws of Muksa pertaining to Shabbos, a rabbinical decree, so that we should really make our Shabbos holy and not walk around with items that could lead to a biblical transgression or just take away from the spirit of Shabbos. And we're in the middle of this halacha dealing with a lenient type of muksa called kelim shemalachnu l'isser, right? Utensils whose functions is an act that's forbidden. So, for example, a hammer, normally use a hammer to hammer in a nail or a hatchet. But we said that you can sometimes move these items, unlike other muksa items, because sometimes you use it for a permitted use. You'll take the hammer and you'll open a walnut with that hammer, or you'll take a hatchet and cut a food item with the hatchet. So in that sense, if you're using the hammer for that purpose, then you can move it, right? That's the first part of this halacha. Then he goes on, it is likewise permitted to move these items for the purpose of using their space. That is, if one needs to use the place upon which the item is resting. Let's say you left the hammer on the dining room table and it's Shabbos and you want to move it, so then you can move that. So let's see what he says here. He says in the footnotes, note that it is permitted to move muksa items only for these purposes: to use the object itself for a permitted use, again, moving the hammer to open walnuts, or to use its space, when the muksa is of the category discussed in this paragraph, kelim shemachnu l'isser, specifically these type of muksa items. Items that are muksa for other reasons may not be moved for these purposes. Okay? Then he goes on to say, according to Rav Moshe Feinstein, it is permitted to move a fan, a clock, or similar item that works on electricity and is connected by a cord to an electrical outlet for the sake of using the item in a permitted fashion, or if one needs the area where it is located. However, one must make absolutely sure not to allow the electric cord to be removed from the socket and not to raise or lower the electrical settings, okay? So if you need that, move the fan a little bit, you can do that. Just be careful. Once one has picked up one of these items in a permitted manner for one of the above mentioned purposes, and likewise if one forgot and mistakenly picked it up, at that point it is permitted for him to move it still further and to put it down wherever he wishes. However, without the purpose of their own use, and without the purpose of using the space that they are occupying, but only to move them for their own benefit, such as to remove them from a specific place so they should not be stolen or ruined, it is forbidden to move them. In other words, again, you can move the hammer to use it to open walnuts or because you don't want it on the dining room table, but you can't move it in from your backyard because it's raining and you want to save it from being rained on. However, what you can do is say, I'm in the mood for some walnuts. I guess let's take that hammer and crack open some walnuts, and then, it's kind of a loophole. You're using it for the purpose of opening walnuts, and in the other sense, you're also saving it from the rain. It is also forbidden to move tefillin. Believe it or not, there's an opinion that says you can wear tefillin on Shabbos, but there's an opinion that says you cannot wear tefillin on Shabbos because it's in this category of utensils that's forbidden for prohibited labor on Shabbos. However, if they're lying in a place that is degrading for the tefillin, where they can become dirty, it is permitted to move them and to put them in a safe place. He says here, when the tefillin are in such a situation, we rely on those authorities who hold that it is permissible to don tefillin on Shabbos. So in other words, because there are opinions out there that say you can wear tefillin on Shabbos, so then if you can wear tefillin on Shabbos, you can move it to save it from the rain. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to, because it'd be like, what are you doing? There's no purpose. But because we can rely on that opinion, so then we can save it. And thus, they are not considered utensils designated for forbidden activity, and may be moved to protect them. This was long, but we got through it. Thanks for listening to sponsor BJC Halacha 36, 100 for the gold. We'll see you tomorrow.